Hey guys, welcome BJ on Game Day. You got Brent, you got Joshy back for another week. Round 8 review, round 9 preview. Joshy, round 8, how'd you go?
Mate, very average, buddy. Very average last week, 1,090, as folks at home could see there on the screen. Look, fairly disappointing weekend for me. Everyone that sort of went big, I didn't have any of those guys. Actually, yeah, I think 5 guys turned up over the weekend, didn't have any of them. So, mate, it was a bit of a struggle. I think I fell back about 2,500 spaces. So I'm probably around 15,000 now. Yeah, I've got to do some changes this week because the team's just not right. What about yourself, mate? Good week there?
Yeah, absolutely. 13.28, bud. Cannot complain about it, to be fair. I think basically this week was a week of whether you pretty much had Latrell or you didn't, and that was the difference between whether you got 1,100 and 12 to 1,300. So it worked out. Obviously, it could have been a bit different had I gone Leilua a couple of weeks ago. Leilua didn't even play, so a bit fortunate there, but makes up for that Cody Walker one. So
he's been named out indefinitely, Joey Leilua.
Yeah, so not sure what happened there, but yeah, pretty happy with that. Jumped nearly 5k spots, 1,300 overall-ish. Definitely best so far this season, but I think I'm in trouble around 12 when we get to buys, to be honest. So I've got to make as much ground up now because there's going to be some havoc come around 12, I reckon.
Come around 12, I think we've spoken about it the last couple of days. I'm really going to try and put as many players on the park as I can and quality players. So I think I can get to 15. 17 for me is not viable, I don't think, with having RTS and Teddy at fullback. Obviously, neither of those will play around 12. There's one spot gone. And same in the 5/8 role with Cam Munster and Kalen Ponga. So out of those 4, I think Cam Munster's maybe the one I'd risk getting away and sort of bringing someone else in. But if I can get 15 strong players, I'll be pretty happy, and that's what I'll be aiming for because at this stage, I'm a fair way behind. I think even internally in our league, I'm about 600 points behind Charlie and the Bunning Snags who are running away with it a little bit. Mate, you've jumped up to second there, bud, so pretty well done there.
Yeah, I'll take it. It just shows, though, mate. I think a couple of good weeks where if you're getting 1,200 plus and, people are only cracking 1,000, you can make it up pretty quickly, and I reckon you showed that last year. So, in a position where you can take a few more risks because you got to, and, potentially that isn't a bad thing because it can pay off. So, we'll see what happens. Long way to go yet. Third of the way through the season, bud.
Mate, that's it. Now, last week, mate, the Fortune Teller. Thoughts on this one, buddy?
Oh, there's not really any words that can define it apart from absolute bloody stitch up and what a rort. So, yeah, our crystal ball last week, you've tipped the redemption arc. Who was it? Johnny Sutton's crashed over in the last
76.
2 minutes to probably get you home.
76.
And then your wild and wacky, which I'm going to start calling this segment Weak and Pathetic, has got you over the line. It was like 4 reserve fringe first graders taking on 4 premium super coaches.
Sorry, Sam Burgess and Jai Arrow.
Oh, and then who? NAS and who? Frizzell, who, to be fair, he got injured, I think.
Did you see the blokes I put up against them? Mitch Rain, Brodie Croft.
Mitch Rain, 80-minute hooker. He's been playing 80 the last how many weeks. They got no backup hooker on the bench. And then Hunt and Croft, you tipped the Sharks to get pounded. So you've gone the halfback from the team you predicted a thumping of. And Ben Hunt scored 140-something points a couple of weeks ago. Rubbish. And all those blokes are on the field for 80 minutes compared to the other. Anyway. Oh, look, I'll stick to my word, but just for the record, what an absolute stitch up, you fucking pricks. Anyway, I got my arc, which gave me a bit of respectability, but it didn't matter in the end. My wild and wacky was about 60,000 off. I don't even know what I was on last week.
I reckon you probably could have reversed it, couldn't you? And done the first four games doubling over the other 4.
Yeah, well,
I reckon there was more points by far in the first 4 games.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I was way off there. It's irrelevant.
We got to go to the big screens here. Bogan. Let's switch to that. Now, mate,
So I got
for the viewers at home, what you got to do here?
I've either got to go the Wheat Bix with Tabasco first. So I got me Tabasco here, and I got a Wheat Bix there. I've also so the deal was tequila, but I don't actually have any tequila, so I got a bit of rakia from a Croatian wedding that we went to a little while ago. So I still got to pop the cork on that one. I'm thinking I probably want to down this first because it might take me a bit to get through a dry Wheat Bix. So
that's dead set water.
Dead set, mate. Look at this cork. I've had to stab the thing to get the cork out to even drink it. It's legit. You just saw me took the wax seal off. It had a wax seal. Just if anyone knows what Baraki is, you'll know this is just as good as tequila. So we'll go this. It's pretty much straight metho or petrol you can put in your car. So I'm going to down this. I reckon it's more than a shot too.
You're going to go that before. I reckon that should wash down the Wheat Bix and the Tabasco, mate.
No, because I've never eaten Tabasco and I don't know how hot that shit is, and I'm going to have a dry mouth, and I've got water and shit here. So, look, cheers to honouring the bet. But what an absolute...
That's a big shot. That's a good one. That all down. Get the whole lot. Oh, go.
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Oh. Oh, yeah, I could be fucking blind after that. Oh, dude.
Oh, get that Tabasco on, mate. Yes.
I've had to go buy this from the shops. Oh, fuck that shit.
Mate, have you got the genuine Wheat Bix or you got the old knockoff stuff?
No, this is the proper premium shit.
Premium Wheat Bix?
Thumbnail opportunities. All right, so here we go. I've never eaten Tabasco, so I'm going to lather this little bad boy up. I'll get this open and... Oh, fuck, that rakia is fucking shit.
This
sort of smells like peri-peri, like hot peri-peri from Nando's.
It's peri-peri. It's...
So hang on, it says Tabasco pepper is high on heat and high on flavour, given any meal a real kick. Just a few drops will enhance the flavour of any meal. Try it on pasta, pizza, stir fries, eggs, and seafood. Doesn't say Wheat Bix, but whatever.
I'm sure it says Wheat Bix there somewhere. You got to give it a bit of a shake, mate. That's it.
Oh, I'm fucking
bit
shaking
of
the
a
dog.
Oh,
I don't know if
that.
you can see that. There's like a mound. Can you see that? Am I going to need to pick the camera up?
Mate, we're going right there. We can see that. That's good. A little bit more. Yeah, it's been a bit generous, yes.
It's coming off. Oh, it's spilling.
It probably would too, actually. Yeah, the Wheat Bix, it'll be moist now. We love moisture.
It's too dry.
He should probably come up with a new snack here. He'll get onto this thought now.
To be honest, I think the dryness of the Wheat Bix sort of mitigates a bit of the heat. And it's not bad.
Come on. Get that Tabasco on that piece there, mate. Come on. Get it on there. Get it on there.
I reckon we're onto something here.
Little bit of a this is a winter
warmer. Apologies if this is really loud in the mic, my chewing.
Yeah,
I can taste a bit of that Tabasco coming through here now.
Oh, a bit of heat coming through, mate.
Cheers.
All right, down that.
Ball. Well done, Joshy.
Yep. Have Wheat Bix gotten smaller? You did that in 2 gulps. It's like Big Macs.
If Tabasco, Wheat Bix, or Rakia are looking for a sponsor, I'm your man.
Can we get done? We can't get done for copyright for putting Tabasco online, can we? No, we'll be right.
Oh,
we'll be right. Is there any kick in, mate?
Oh, yeah, there's a little bit of Tabasco there now on the tongue.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. All right, well, let's see how Brent goes with that one. Let's roll into the match reviews from last week. A little bit of a special one coming in here.
On the escarpment. Check him out. Have a look at him. What a spectacular animal. The thing I've learnt many, many years ago is how keen their eyesight is. So what we'll have to do is, I'm not going to look him right in the eye. Let's just see if we can sneak over.
The bounce is good for him. He's got a double.
Just get over there.
Oh, intercepted here by Adam Reynolds. He scored. He gets the ball down.
He's big enough that I won't represent a predator. As long as I don't look him in the eye, just keep my profile low, we should be able to get nice and close. Getting close to wildlife is an art form. He's onto me. You can see him tongue flicking, and he's looking straight at me. Yep, he's onto me. He's curling his tail up. He's big enough that I don't represent too much of a problem. He's starting to move away. I'm close enough. I'm getting real close. This is great. Here's the king. Here's the king of the outback. The largest predator out here.
It finishes with the goanna. Oh, my goodness.
How good was that, Joshy? Thanks to South Sydney Rabbitohs Twitter for that vid. How good was it?
Mate, very good. Yeah, look, obviously a bit of a farewell there from the South boys for Greggy Inglis. They had a massive performance over the Broncos there Friday night. As you can see, Damien Cook turned up with 109 there on the left, but plenty of boys crossing the stripe and doing the goanna. Tongues out galore. I think Johnny Sutton took Greg's eye there with the best one, but yeah, a nice little tribute from the guys.
Absolutely, mate. And then we had, on the Friday, we had your boys taking on the Storm in what was predicted to be a bit of a walkover from the Storm, given how many injuries Cronulla had. But I don't know, it was a weird sort of game, mate. I watched a bit of that one, not really knowing what to expect, but Sharks sort of, it was a bit of an arm wrestle, got a bit of an 8-point lead there and managed to hold on, which was quite impressive given the amount of injuries they had and a couple of big performances from a couple of young players. Flanagan was quite good, and obviously Ueli crossed over for an important try late there, mate. What are you rating this one?
Yeah, mate, look, I watched my boys and obviously happy as a supporter, but the Storm, very, very disappointing. Obviously, a bit's come out in the media this week with Craig Bellamy and the threatened to I guess, get rid of a few players, drop a few players, and anyone who didn't want to put in the effort on the field, he'd be able to find new players. And I think Sunshine Coast Falcons, their feeder club, had a 72-4 win or something in Queensland Cup. So plenty of those guys looking to get in the team are in good form. But yeah, look, the Storm, at the end of the day, they really didn't have any excuses. The Sharks were pretty depleted. The Sharks played good football. They played solid, hold the ball. They didn't give away too many penalties. And I think for Cronulla, that sort of, I guess, when they're a little bit more responsible with the ball, and they just seem to play a little bit better. But, yeah, so pretty happy with that win. Earlier on the Friday night, the Cowboys, who'd they play? I can't see behind those things. I can't remember who the Cowboys played.
Titans.
Who'd they beat? Titans. Oh, yeah, they give them a bit of a hiding. Wasn't really much of a game, this one. I sort of tipped the Cowboys and in the footy tipping comps and things like that. But yeah, two pretty unexciting teams of football at the moment, mate.
Yeah, I remember sort of thinking on a Friday night you get home, you want to watch a footy, and the last thing you want to do, to be honest, is watch Cowboys play the Titans. You know, maybe a bit harsh, but that was my opinion on that one at the time. I think those early games can be a bit hard to watch at times as well. If you're just finishing work, depending on who it is, you might make a bit more of an effort if it's your team or a good game. But yeah, they don't really think about some of this when they're doing the scheduling, I don't think. Well, they probably do, because that was why it wasn't a win game. But yeah, I didn't actually really see much of that one. most notably, obviously, Lolo return, mate. He was a late inclusion and crossed the line for a try, and he's back. So SuperCoach-wise, that's pretty important. Morgan was pretty quiet. A lot of people jumping off him now. So Arrow bounced back to a bit of form with cracking 80, so that was good. But otherwise wasn't too much interest in that one.
Yeah, mate, look, 100%. Obviously, the Lolo return was huge for the Cowboys. He had a good game, and I don't know how many super coaches out there would have had him, whether people traded him in, or obviously a few non-playing sort of super coaches around that 100,000 mark would have had him from the start and just forgotten to take him out, like a couple of guys I saw in leagues that I was in for public leagues. But 85 points, most trade-in player this week. Interesting to see with a massive break-even, but break-evens don't really matter too much when you're trading in a keeper. So we'll play round 12. Hopefully he can make it through this magic round unscathed. And, at Suncorp Stadium where he actually did the injury 6 or 8 weeks ago.
Yeah, and last game of the round up against South. So it's a really interesting one this week with the big 119 break even. I think I'm going to stay off him and just hope he doesn't cross the pine. But I can't blame anyone for bringing him in. Set and forget he's back, baby.
Yep. Saturday, Raiders went to Wagga, took the Penrith Panthers to Wagga, and just continued their good form. Penrith weren't too hot, and the big story out of this one was a couple of injuries. The biggest one to Johnny Bateman, 6 to 8 weeks out for fractured eye socket, and looks like he'll go under the knife this week for surgery.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Bit of a boo-boo there for anyone that captained him, a bit rough. He's looked pretty solid all year, and to be fair, probably a really solid captain choice. It would have stuffed a few people, which hurts in a round where you had guys like Cookie, KP, obviously Latrell, who went really big. That hurt. That stings a little bit more when that sort of thing happens on a round like that. So Big Billy Kickout also went down, mate. Turns out it's not as serious as first thought, but that was looking like it was pretty bad at the time. Turns out it was just a scar tissue recurrence, which so he's actually a chance to play this weekend. But the pictures we saw on him being taken from the field, you'd think he was gone for a while. So that was interesting. I think Joey Leilua was also a bit of a late scratching, as you mentioned, and has not been named to back up again this week. So not sure what's happened there. I have no nail on what the issue was with that. So
I saw probably an hour or two ago on Facebook, NRL Physio has actually announced that he's out indefinitely with a neck related injury. So not too sure what's going on there, but that's the story that I've heard.
And then the game after that on the Saturday, mate, was the
sorry to interrupt, fellas. I've just went live. I'm just on Twitter at the moment, and the NRL have come out and said that James Maloney has been found not guilty of his Grade 1 dangerous contact charge, so he'll be free to play in round 9.
Well, there you go. I didn't actually even know he was facing a charge, to be honest.
He was facing 2.
There you go.
James Maloney's too short.
Maloney's in.
He jumps up on everyone, but he's. I don't think he's ever injured anyone on the park, other than throwing a few boots here or there. He goes all right, Maloney. But
I reckon there's no other player in the NRL I want to punch square in the face more than James Maloney.
I reckon a few of his coaches have said that. That's why he's played on 6 different teams in his career.
He's just got a face you just want to smash. Anyway, so he's in. For all those Maloney owners or anyone interested, Maloney is in. We had Eagles take on the Dogs, mate, on the second game of Super Saturday, and the Eagles got over them in what looked like to be a bit of a dour affair. I didn't catch all of this, saw glimpses of it. Ruben Garrick, obviously most notably, crossed for a double, scored 111 points, kicked all the goals, so he scored all 18 points for the Eagles, mate. And for those people that stole him this week or last week or the week before, one of which myself, probably kicking themselves now because he will play 12 and he's now in line for some really juicy rises, and probably by round 13 he'll be pretty ripe to sell for someone a bit nicer in that centre wing position, mate. But obviously that's a big one out there.
I said probably 3 or 4 videos ago that I thought he was on one leg, that he was struggling, that he wouldn't make the end of that game. He's come out and bounced back. He's had a couple of games in the 60s. Now he's turned up. He's got the goal kicking. But beyond all that, the dirtiest thing, the thing I'm absolutely filthy about, is that I played Munner in the head-to-head over the weekend in his checkmate team. And how the hell do you start Ruben Garrick, Munner? Like, dead set, You're joking. You're joking. But, and that was the difference. Thanks, Bogan. That was the difference there. I got beat by about sort of 25 points after updates. Before updates, I was 3 points down. I thought, I'm a chance here, but ended up going down by about 25 or 30 points. And Ruben Garrick was a very, very big part of that.
To be fair, a couple of factors, I reckon, is A, they were playing the Dogs. So maybe they're playing anyone else that doesn't happen, depending on who it is. And B, he's kicking goals. So he's getting those points. And, if he does jag a try, he's probably getting 50, 60 anyway. And as it turned out, he scored both tries with line breaks and kicked all the goals, which is just unheard of. But, yeah, pretty stiff, I must admit. That's pretty sick. I traded him I think I traded him in round 6 and he scored 10 points. And I thought, you are a SuperCoach genius. And he's come out and scored 60 the week after that, 111 the week after that. He's now got a minus 40-something break even. And fuck you, Ruben Garrick.
Right. Saturday night, mate, we watched the Latrell show.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think it was exactly that, wasn't it? I think the first half there, Chooks were very dominant. I think the score at halftime was it 18-6 or 18? Wasn't 18-12, I don't think. Sorry, but
I think it was 18-6, and then Tigers scored first in the second half.
Yeah, and I think they were very lucky that it was only 18-6. And at the time, I was watching at the club with a couple, the old man and a couple of people, and I said they'll put 40 on them here, and they did that. And obviously, it was the Latrell show. He scored a hat trick, kicked 8 from 9 or something like that, set up a couple, 161 points, absolutely massive. What more can you say? As I said, I think this week was just defined by whether you had him or not, SuperCoach-wise.
That's what I can say. I didn't have him. 36% ownership.
To be honest, I thought as a Teddy captain, I thought he could have gone over a couple of times in the first half. He juggled a ball, got held up close. So I was a bit dark on that, but otherwise, the Chooks just flexed their premiership muscle. Interesting though, the Tigers, I don't know where to from there. Maguire will hate to be his dog because he blows up whenever they don't perform. So interesting to see how they bounce back this week.
Your boys on the Sunday, mate, big win over the Warriors. Tight game up until probably the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, well, I was actually had my daughter's birthday party, so I couldn't actually watch it, which was a logistical oversight with the scheduling of the birthday party there. What sort of
she turned 1 year. She's going to have 50 more before you
well, that was the only one. Had it been the second birthday party, I was at the pub. So, I was following it on my phone and there was a couple of people watching it. I had to be sort of social at times, but it looked close. I was concerned. We had got to a little bit of a lead and they struck back a couple of times, but similar to last week against the Eels, we just went on with it, which was really good to see. That's something we've struggled to do. Going into that Eels game a couple of weeks ago, we hadn't scored more than 20 points in a game, and we've now managed to do that 2 weeks in a row. And it looks like we're starting to chime together a bit better. And it was just taking a few extra weeks to get those combos with Ponga back at number 1. So that's good. We play the Dogs this week. I'm really hoping, that will cement it, and we really should be winning that game this week. So that's another big test for us. And then we've got a bit of a tough month we'll play the Chooks and South within the next few weeks after that. So it'd be good if we get 3 in the trot and see what happens after that, mate.
Mate, look, it's I think it's a little bit of obviously a faux pas on Nathan Brown's case. Obviously, starting the year with Ponga at 5'8" was just the wrong decision. He's shown there the last couple of weeks. His most dangerous position is at fullback, where he's given that right to sort of roam. And I think we saw it on the weekend there. His try that he scored towards the end of the game, I think about 15, 20 or 20 minutes from full time, was absolutely awesome. The speed he showed after an active full game, just what we'd come to expect from him, I guess.
Worth mentioning real quick, since he's been pushed back to 1, his scores have been, he's played the last 5 games there. He's gone 88, 81, 83, 64 and 90.
Yeah.
So,
goes to show, doesn't it? Yeah.
Marmelo turned up as well, mate. We've got to mention that.
Oh, Kenny Marmelo. Yeah, he's a bit of rocks or diamonds, Kenny Marmelo. He scores 10 one week and 106 the next. He's a little bit hard to catch, that bloke.
Absolutely.
But Sunday, the Eels. Now, the Dragons got out to a quick start in this one. I wasn't too sure what to make of this game, but the Eels, as they've shown in a few games this season, just sort of had that sort of comeback and they just, took charge. Gutho, Makasivo, Blake Ferguson, all sort of just had massive second halves and they put the Dragons away.
Yeah, mate, Marnie was really good as well. I think that Bankwest Stadium or whatever they're calling it is looking like, first of all, just a fantastic ground to go and watch a game of footy at, to be honest, from what you see on the telly. Looks like it'd be really awesome to get there, especially if they get around that 25-30 mark there, 30,000 in the crowd. And I don't know, potentially the Eels are turning into a bit of a fortress. I know they've only played 2 games there and won, but they've won well in the end of it. I know they, like I said, they started slow, but it will be interesting to see. I think they play Melbourne this week. Not there, but interesting to see how they go over the next few weeks at that stage.
Well, let's check out the fixtures for next week, mate. Obviously, this week being the Magic Round up in Brisbane. And you'll see there the Thursday night that the Titans open up with the Sharks.
Yeah, and then you've got on the Friday? Sorry, I've lost my way here.
Hang on, another call coming through there. Bear with me.
Oh, yeah, Josh is having some technical issues. On the... Sorry, I've lost me.
Friday night, we've got the West Tigers and the Panthers open up.
That's the one. That's the one. Look, obviously, probably a few interesting one there. SuperCoach wise, mate, Caleb Aikens retained the 1 spot, so he's a guy that you can potentially look at bringing in. He might play 13. He hasn't set the world on play round 12 rather. He hasn't set the world on fire SuperCoach points wise, but he's a possible downgrade option. Just something to mention for that one, bud.
I'm just not excited by him, mate. Like, maybe that's just the Panthers in general and the season that they're having, but when Dylan Edwards came on the scene sort of a couple of years ago and into last year before he did the ACL, I thought he was going to be one of the next big things. And I think we've seen guys, like your RTSs and a few blokes like that who come back from the ACLs take a year to sort of get going. I'm hoping that's the same with him. And look, whichever club he does end up at, obviously there's talk around the Panthers wanting to get rid of Edwards. I reckon he's going to be huge. But, for now, mate, I'm just not sold on Aikens. I don't know. I don't think he's active enough. I don't think he shows enough brilliance to sort of, break lines and such. And that said, he'll probably come out and score 100 now that I've said this.
Look, he's due. If nothing else, he scored 38 points in both games with the exact same base. So he's consistent. I'll take that.
Yeah. Sea Eagles and Broncos, obviously the Friday night slot they give to the, air quotes, Broncos home team. They have an away game during Magic Round at Suncorp Stadium. I don't know how that works. So that'll be the Friday night. 3 games on the Saturday now. Bit of a shout out to the NRL SuperCoach live chat page, it's called. They're having a get together. Basically, one of the lads has put out an invite to anyone SuperCoach who's up in Brizzy who might want to go to a game or two, but they're going to start out at the Caxton Hotel. So I reckon that'll be a big one for the SuperCoach boys if they get a few lads down there. I'll be working, unfortunately, so I won't be able to make it. But you got the Doggies against the Knights, mate. Your guys will go into that one expecting a win.
Yeah, look, surely we get the result. I don't know what the weather's meant to be like up in Brisbane this weekend, mate. Maybe you'll be able to shine a bit of light on that. But Hopefully it's not wet. There's going to be a lot of traffic on on that park over the weekend. I'm definitely glad we're not one of the last games of the round. I'm happy with pretty much first up on Saturday, because I think that's going to start to play a bit of a factor late. I don't think it's the best ground in the world.
No, look, I don't think it is the best ground in the world, but look, good news is that the weather is actually clear for most of the week
That's
up
good.
here, so I don't think we'll see too much rain. The second game on that Saturday, Warriors playing the Dragons. Couple of teams here who obviously need to bounce back. The Dragons were pretty average last week against the Eels, especially after they started so hot. And, the Warriors, well, they just need something to go right. So not too sure what will happen there.
Pretty ironic. Nicarima will play his first game for the Warriors at Suncorp, mate.
Yeah, he obviously flew over to New Zealand and he can fly straight back. Yeah.
He could have waited.
Yeah. But
Patrick Herbert, cheapy in the centres as well. If people looking for a downgrade option, won't play 12.
Can't have him, mate.
Apparently security's not too bad. But if you're looking for something there.
3 or 4 weeks out from round 12, I think if you're taking on cheapies now, you've got to have an absolutely set and forget side, because there's still plenty of options out there that people won't have. And I know round 12 doesn't seem to be stacked with genuine starters, but I think it's going to make a massive difference. Let's say you score 600 or 700 in round 12. There's going to be a lot of people that jump over you if they score 1,000 or so. So, mate, Patrick Herbert, pass the eye test. I like what he did sort of defence-wise. Scored a try last week, which was good. Other than that, mate, couldn't have him myself.
We've got to jump back to Eagles Brisbane. There's plenty going on there. Coruscant's been named at 6. You called that a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, true.
Mac is now gone down at training. They've got this young Jake Turpin, Turpin on how you say it. They've dropped Roberts. They've dropped Osako. So plenty happening in that one. Tom Dearden obviously still there, but
we probably could have talked a bit more about that one. Yeah,
really interesting. They've dropped Tavita Pangai Jr. to the bench. Fledgler gets a start at lock. So yeah, plenty happening there, mate. Really interesting seeing what's going on at Brisbane. And yeah, Appy, who knows? He's got a chance to shine at 6. And
one thing I'll say, obviously, I mentioned that if Manasi got that number 9 spot, I'd bring him straight in. I think with the injuries to Bateman and a couple others there last week, I just can't do it. But what also I noticed last week is that Manasi, I think he played around about 60 or 70 minutes last week. He cramped like an absolute bastard everywhere last week. I think with about 10 minutes to go, the bloke was so gassed it wasn't funny. So I've got my doubts about him being an 80-minute player right now. So for now, I'm just going to steer clear of him, although I do think he's absolutely brilliant. But going to stay away from him for now.
Well, Croker, what's the Croker injury? Because that's probably also going to play a bit of a factor, and Cherry Evans as well. As soon as Coruscant gets out of the halves again, he probably starts to chew on some of his minutes.
Yeah, true.
Anyway. Sorry, I just thought we had to jump back at that one. After Warriors Dragons, we've got Storm taking on Para. So obviously, this could be a really interesting game. I think Storm need to bounce back. It is there at Suncorp. It's not in Melbourne, and Para are pretty red hot if they get going at the moment. I think this could be a really good game, and I think there's every chance that Para could roll them. What do you reckon?
Yeah, mate, considering how Storm played against Cronulla, one thing about a Craig Bellamy-led team, they really put 2 bad performances back-to-back. So my tip would be for the Storm to bounce back pretty big, for blokes like Cam Munster and Brodie Croft to really step up and control that game a little bit more in the halves. I think they lacked a little bit of that against Cronulla. And, their forwards didn't show too much punch either. Blokes like Dale Finucane and Jesse Bromwich were just pretty average against the Sharkies.
Should be a good game, though. Para flying at the moment.
Mate, match of the round for me is on the Sunday, the 2 o'clock game. Absolutely loving this one with the Roosters. Obviously, Latrell high flying and plenty of the other guys in the Roosters team. Like you said, mate, last week, Teddy, I reckon he could have had 3 or 4 tries by sort of half-time, the way he was going. He was lurking everywhere. He dropped a ball or two. I think there was one stage there where Latrell went inside for Keary, could have gone outside Tedesco on one of the breakaways. But there was a couple of times I found myself swearing at myself, having Teddy as captain. And, it just wasn't meant to be. And the Raiders, obviously one of the form teams of the comp, this is probably their litmus test this week. They're up against the premiership favourites and neutral ground at Suncorp Stadium.
I reckon a few dampeners. Obviously, no Bateman sucks for that one because he's obviously been a big part of their success this season. Young Hudson Young's getting a chance out on the edge, and obviously no BJ Leilua as well. But yeah, still should be pretty good. I think a lot of people might be looking at Hudson Young. I'm not as convinced on him personally. I think even Ryan Sutton could potentially be one to have a look at, depending on what happens with the minutes. But I guess the bonus about anyone that you might be picking up from Canberra is that they will play round 12, and assuming they're not an Origin player, which the Canberra side, it's probably only going to be either Papali and potentially Kotrick. So, that should be a really good game, that one.
Yeah, mate, look, I'll probably share a similar view on Hudson Young. It seems like he's passed a few of those blokes like your Jack Murchys, your Emre Gula, guys like that. But at this stage, the way I look at it, any cheapies that are coming in now are injury-based rather than potential-based. If they had been this good, they would have been starting off the season. So, look, I'm not 100% sold on him either. Like I said as well earlier, for me now, I'm just worried about getting in guns rather than any sort of cheapy money-making guys.
And he's a big unit. I can't see him playing. He's a NAS sort of. He's a real big, tall, heavy thing. I can't see him playing like 70 minutes or anything near that. He played 54 on the weekend, which I think was just due to, they filled some gaps. I mean, it could be wrong, but his base in that time was only 32 and scored for a try, so it inflated his score a bit. But I'd be surprised if he played 60 minutes, to be honest, or even 55 again.
Very cool. And to round out the round, mate, we've got the Rabbitohs and the Cowboys, the Sunday 4:00 game. This could see plenty of Captain Cooks around, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a few obvious ones this weekend, but there's actually quite a few good ones. So could be the thing that defines this round, who you actually vice-captain and potentially captain. Cookie definitely going to be one of those. Last week, I didn't vice him. I went Burgess, something different. It wasn't looking like too bad of a decision until Cookie set up a late couple of tries there, which was also pretty controversial in terms of what he actually got awarded, being given the full try assists and line break assists rather than just try contributions. But, it looks like he's the new Cameron Smith in a lot of ways, which you can't complain. It's just there seems to have been a bit of consistency so far this season. I've seen a few very similar ones not be given like that. So, anyway, definitely an option there. I think the Cowboys will be lucky to not get hammered by 20 plus in this one, to be honest.
Yep. Moving on from there, we go to the trades for next week. Casualty ward. Who got injured? I can't remember.
It was a big one. We touched on a few of them. Obviously, Bateman was a big one. You had Kickout, who looks like he'll be back. You've still got no Leilua. Mac has gone down during the week, which is interesting. I haven't heard anything on what's happened there, but I have McCulloch. So serious MCL sprain, grade 3, which is basically a complete rupture. NRL physio reports around that sort of 6 to 8 weeks. The MCL is obviously not as major as the ACL or things like that. So probably 6 to 8 weeks, maybe a little bit more. Rapana's back, surprisingly, and Leilua's not. So that's pretty interesting. I think Asai is meant to miss a bit of time as well. How do you say his name? I don't know how you say his name.
Isaiah, shoulder reconstruction. He's out for about 3 to 4 months. We probably, depending on that, you might not see him back until finals time.
I've got something in front of me now. Corey Norman.
That'd be good. I can't remember when I read it, but it was probably earlier today. So if that's the update then, obviously, yeah, good news for him. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Maybe, he's obviously not totally SuperCoach relevant, but some had some pods there and guys looking for 12.
I've actually, what I do like about Isaiah Yeo is he's just got a little bit of speed for a back rower. I've got him in a couple of my draft teams, actually, because I'm sort of a fan of him. Hoping he'd be sort of one of those pods, but didn't really eventuate too much. But I've got to say, I'm not a fan of this. I think these guys should get these surgeries done and that. A lot of guys making the sacrifices now. And I know Andrew Fafita's one at Cronulla. He's been overdue knee surgery for 18 months now for ongoing problems, and he just sort of keeps getting the needles. So, yeah, I understand why they do it, but not a fan of it.
Change places! Change places!
So trading floor, and just to recap last week, mate, obviously you sort of had a bit of a weird one here. Angus Crichton, mate, you brought him in, though?
Yeah, mate, I just thought, at times when you lose someone like SJ, I figured, there wasn't anyone at the time that was ideal for 12 that I was looking at bringing in. There was a couple of high break evens there. Obviously, had I known Lolo was back, who knows what might have happened. But big fan of Crichton, and I figure I'll have him to the end. Probably a bit of a bizarre pick this close to Origin, but I'm pretty happy at this stage that he'll probably stay there for the rest of the year. And I just liked his price and his break even. Doesn't have huge ownership as well, so I was going for something a little bit different. Didn't pay off as I'd hoped, but yeah, it's easy there. And I went Cape without Croker in, so that one didn't work out too badly for me. Obviously, Croker's not the biggest, strongest, fastest player in the world, but if he's going to kick 6 or 7 goals potentially each week, if Canberra are scoring points, there's some free points for him, and he's got this uncanny ability to just make some line breaks that you just don't know how he does it, and just pops up on the ball randomly and just manages to put himself in the right place all the time. It's quite unbelievable. So he scored 60-something, 65, 66, so that turned out good for me. But yeah, so I went Cape Welder Croker.
Mate, one thing I'd say about is Crichton. I think with the attention that Keary, Cordner, Latrell sort of pull towards him on that left side, what I thought with Cooper Cronk there on the right hasn't really eventuated. I thought this would actually be the perfect scenario with Angus Crichton able to run those lines on the right-hand side, but he's just not seeing enough of a football in attack.
Yeah, and I think his minutes are still solid. Like, he's an 80-minute back row virtually. So his base is still going to – he's pretty much going to get 45, 50 in base most weeks. So you're just hoping – basically, you can just get something. But, yeah, you're right.
I remember last season with the Bunnies, like the amount of times he'd be, let's say, 40, 45 metres out, and they'd run a play to the right, and he'd line break and, maybe step around the fullback and score. Roosters don't run the plays to him unless they're inside basically the red zone, inside the 20 or the 10. So he's just not getting that room to warm up and that room to use his speed and use his step. I don't know, just what I noticed.
Post round 16, the Roosters have got a really good run. I know it's a long way away, but maybe he goes a bit under the radar until through Origin. Hopefully he doesn't pick up any injuries or anything like that, but they play some really good fixtures, I think, SuperCoach wise, so I'm hoping it pays off a bit towards that back end as well, but yeah, not going to help me through the buys, that's for sure.
My recap for round 8 trades.
He's brought in 3 blokes.
Fuck, I can't remember what I put in. Oh, that's right. I say, all right. I didn't go. Did I go any of these trades?
Yeah, you went to Powell and you went Roger.
I went to. I brought in Roger to Avasa Sheck. Look, I mentioned last week in the show that he was one I was thinking about. I pulled the trigger, got about halfway through Friday night into Saturday morning, and Marty Tapau came in for Jacob Host, and I got rid of Chanel Harris-Tavita, and brought in Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. So you'd use my jewels around there to move Dylan Brown to halfback, Kalen Ponga up to 5'8", and then RTS to fullback. So look, neither of those trades really paid off too much. I think both Marty and RTS scored around that sort of mid-50s, but I'm sure in weeks to come these boys will be back up to the 80s and 90s. And yeah, the way I'm looking at it is basically they're set and forget. They're both Kiwis, so obviously Origin won't affect. One plays 12, one plays 16. Hopefully they can stay injury-free, and we'll go forward from there. What about this week, mate? What do you got on the cards?
Yeah, look, I think the one that'll be on everyone's minds is Lolo's back, and I said to you, I think once he ended up playing that, forget all your plans about any other back row that's playing round 12. Forget your kick-outs and your tap-outs and your Martins. You got to get him in. Funnily enough, I haven't actually done that this week. Look, I'm comfortable at this point in time that I'm going to go Martin, Reece Martin. I like his mid-500s. He's got a 50 break even. I'm going to go Burr out, him in. I've got Burr's sort of, I reckon, pretty much peaking. He has the ability to hit his 60-odd break-even this week, but he might also score 40 and then be facing an 80-plus break-even next week. So he's done his job. He's made a fair bit of cash, and he's a relatively nice upgrade to go to Martin. Martin seems to be playing some not playing 80 every week, but he's getting some better minutes, and I'm just happy to have him. He's only got 4% ownership too, mate. So he's a massive pod, believe it or not. I looked at Fisher Harris, but he's up at like around 14, 15%. That's not why I've made this decision, but I was pretty surprised by Martin's ownership, to be fair, for a goal kicking back rower who plays around 80. And obviously, Chanel Harris-Tavita. I had made this decision prior to seeing team list, so I just figured he peaked. He did his job. He'd made a bit of money. And I'm going Aitkins. Obviously, you've expressed your concerns with him, but I'm just in a point where I'm just still trying to keep my bankroll steady, because I'll be looking to bring some guys in next week like Lolo and maybe someone else. So pretty happy with them, and we'll see what happens. Aitkins won't be in my 17, but Reece Martin definitely will.
Fair call, mate. Fair call. Myself, mate, on the gun route, mate. I'm loving the Tamalolo's back, and last week what I saw was all I really needed. So hopefully you can get through this weekend, through the last game at the Suncorp in the Magic Round unscathed. I'm going to get rid of Bateman, mate. I just can't see any reason to hold anything. 6 to 8 weeks, surgery, doesn't play 12 now, won't play 16 when he gets back. He's been good. He's been great. He did exactly what I thought he would do. I've had him since the start of the season, so I've got the money. I've got the points. I'm going to jump ship now. So I'm going to go Johnny Bateman. He's in my centre wings, and I'm going to go to Blake Ferguson. Look, Blake, I think he's just going to hold his form throughout the season. Obviously, we saw him get injured about 3 or 4 weeks ago there. He's since come back with a couple of solid scores, knows how to score tries. Anything happens to Mitch Moses, he'll take over the goal kicking. But for now, I'm happy with his base and the fact that he can basically put up 60 to 70 points on the board every week, and 100's never too far away. And Lachlan Burr, mate, also going to go out for me.
Yeah, I reckon Fergo's an interesting one, mate. I reckon last year you brought him in around maybe not the similar time, but there was a point there where I thought he was in such good form. He was nearly a sure thing for Origin. I reckon it's similar this year. Obviously, it's a little bit different with Turbo out and Jimmy the Jet now being dropped to Reggie's. But I think he's an awesome buy this week, mate. I couldn't risk it myself, but you're in a position, we've said before, that you're potentially going to be able to take some of those sort of risks now because you've got to. I think he's a great one. I'd definitely look at him if I wasn't so concerned about Origin. So I think that one could be really good for you, bud. Yeah,
mate, look, 100% right. I did bring him in around this time last year. And and he didn't play Origin. He got overlooked for whatever reason. Look, I think he's probably, it's hard to say the best winger in the game, but I think he's probably the most effective winger in the game, if that makes sense. The way he starts sets, the way he picks the times to run, he can leap, he can bat it back. He's just got such good vision. And since he's put obviously all the bullshit away from his younger days, he's definitely matured. So, mate, he's someone I'm happy to get on and just hopefully he can continue that and stay injury free.
And I think he was a big part to why you finished so strong last year. Him and Val Holmes had an insane finish to 2018. He was scoring some really big points, and
last year between those two, Latrell and Teddy as well. Yeah. The four of those I basically had in my backs from around about probably around 14 or 15 onwards. And it just went huge for me. So they were a big reason of how I got in the top 1,000 last year. And hoping to do the same. So my vision in the next sort of few weeks and leading past round 12 is blokes like Latrell, Essan Masters, those sort of goal-kicking centre wingers that have the ability to break the game open and play on sort of solid teams. So watch this space for that one.
Bobby Ware, he plays Origin, I reckon.
Bobby Ware plays Origin? Yeah, well, look, if he does, he does. All seven of my centre wingers at the moment are covered. So, I've got 7 centre wingers for round 12. We'll see how we go. What do we got next, Bogan? SuperCoach Fortune Teller. Mate, a little bit weird. Look, after you got into me last week about the Wild and Wacky, I've got the Wild and Wacky this week. To ton up, I've gone. Yeah, look, Benny Hunt. I don't even know who the Dragons play. I know they play at Suncorp Stadium.
Don't they? I
think they play the Warriors.
Do they play? Yeah, they do play the Warriors.
I think they play the Warriors.
No, they do play
the Warriors. Look, the Warriors have been that bloody average. I'm hoping, obviously, the pitch isn't too chopped up by then. And look, Benny Hunt, Corey Norman's obviously out. He's going to have to take the reins there. So I'm hoping he can produce one of those performances that we see once every couple of months. I think he's already put in one this year where he scored about 130 or 140. And we can see another one of those against a dismal Warriors outfit. My redemption arc is Victor Radley. Now, I've never seen him throw so many forward passes or drop so many balls as he did last week. Obviously, they pretty much towed up the West Tigers, but he was very, very average in the number 9 jersey last week. So my tip for him is actually a true bounce back to form, is not just from SuperCoach point of view, but from an NRL point of view. I think you have a cracking game against the Raiders this week. And, Wild and Wacky, I think you're in the same boat, mate. We both haven't come up with something yet, so we might have to do that post recording here.
Oh, we'll think of something. I'll think of something on the sly here, but I reckon I'm owed something rubbish.
What do you got to ton up, mate?
So for me, I've gone the Rabbits pretty much in a towel. I've gone AJ to ton up. He's been uncharacteristically quiet. He just hasn't scored his 100 and then had his quiet sub-20 month and then his 100 again. So I reckon he's due, and I do think that the Rabbits are going to hammer them. And I've tipped on that basis. I've tipped Gagai to bounce 75 plus. So obviously relying on him probably scoring a try and maybe doing something else as well. But I went sub 40 last week. Going him. Wild and Wacky, I had no idea. I still have no idea. I'm tipping maybe Suncorp to have the most points scored on the ground this round. I'll take that. Go Wild. How about I take that one as a level?
No. Let's go Wild and Wacky. Let's go because of the Magic round, because everything's at Suncorp. Let's verse off against each other. Do you want over or unders? Right, over or unders?
Yeah.
Let's go with 3. 3 or more, or 3 or less players to get arrested over the weekend due to contrary conduct.
What about?
I reckon that
might not break within the week. I reckon it takes a couple of weeks to come out.
All right. Well, let's.
What about over and under players to ton up? And we go 4.
All right. Over and unders players to ton up 4.
You want under?
All right.
Over?
What do you want? What do you want?
4 is a.
I'll take over.
You go 4 or more.
That 4 or more, and you'll go 3 or less.
And what? Yeah. Yeah, right.
We'll have a sneaky little side bet for a month's time on the 3 or more players getting arrested or report it. Something to bring the game into disrepute, disgrace the game. Let's go with that. We'll figure out a bet. Exactly.
I reckon the line needs to be 4.5.
4.5. Oh, here we go. All right. All right. 4.5. So I'll go to 4 above.
Right.
4.5. So
Righto.
I've got 5. You're on 4. Done.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll
give that one away.
Thanks, mate. You owe me.
I'll give that one away.
What are we doing? You got to have a spoonful of sardines or something. What's the punishment? Sardines? You like fish?
We've got to think up something. I'm out of ideas so far.
I'm going a big, nice spoonful of cat food or like sardines or something.
All right.
Or Magic Round. You've got to eat some rabbit or something.
Fucking eat a rabbit out of here.
We'll think of something.
Yeah, we'll find something.
Comment, give us some ideas.
What's
Dry
that?
dog food, anything like that.
Yeah, leave it in the comments, guys. You'll see our social media pages up there on the screen. Twitter at BJ and GameDay. Facebook BJ and GameDay. Search that one there. And we've come up with a SuperCoach group code as well. So 701371. Basically, anyone from the start of the year who didn't get to join the group, feel free to join that, and you will be able to see everyone's scores each week. I've got to jump on it still. The lads are on it, and Big Ted's on it. So we'll try and get more and more numbers on that one as well. Leading into the BJ and GameDay League, we've just got a little bit of an intro here, so a bit of a tribute.
How good is that?
So, mate,
Snags.
Charlie White, how good is he? This kid, this Roosters fan, he's absolutely flying. No wonder he had Latrell over the weekend. He's a bloody Roosters fan. But he is up to 53rd overall. So I'm pretty sure that's the highest in the 2 seasons we've ever had anyone at sort of one time in the season. So
well done, Charlie.
To Charlie White and the Bunning Snags up to 53rd. Mate, you've managed to climb to second with that big score last week, 13.28. So well done there, buddy. At the moment, we're just giving $20 up to the Men of League Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just goes to show just one big week can change so much. The league's still really close, as we've said many times. If we didn't have that absolute muppet in the league, the Bashers, and even the Threat, we'd have a really solid league. A lot of 1,100 averages, and if not 1,100, real close. So yeah, it's pretty massive. I think the bye period's going to be really interesting. It'll be real interesting to take a bit of a snapshot prior to the buys and then see how we go post 12 and then post 16. But I think we're all playing for second at the moment. Snag's got a bit of a lead, so
mate, definitely. And Gangsters Gagas, I think this is the weekly scoreboard because I think the overall one's a little bit closer than that. You'll see there, obviously, there's your overall there. Rangers de Janeiro up in third. Only 1,140 for Blake last week. He had probably a little bit of a down week considering what he's been like so far this season. And he's 1 point short of the 9,000. So he's still going fairly solid. Head-to-head, what do we got in the head-to-head standings? Rangers de Janeiro, Bunning Snags. Now, these two lads will come up against each other this week in their head-to-head. So,
blockbuster.
We'll be looking forward to that one. Trent with What's a Pod has just dead set had a dream run. He's had the easiest draw you'll ever see. He's basically everyone else is jumping over hurdles while he's on a sprint race. It's bloody ridiculous. But anyway,
he's
I'm sure we'll find
on the total points. Fucking
15th on the total points, and you're third on head-to-heads.
Can I just mention the only blemish on the Snaggies record there is that week that I had to play him, and if I lost, I was eating 5 friggin'. How fortuitous is that for me? Because the bloke's an absolute weapon since.
He is a weapon. Look at that, 13.45 he's scored. You just can't catch him. Every week we think, we might get a little bit closer this week, and he just kicks away. But,
has the Bastards done his team, or has he just got Latrell in there from round one and he's actually scored 900? He's played the worst team in the comp the week that he gets the biggest score as well.
He's not playing. He's not playing. He's just dead set got basically people who return from injury. I don't know who he captained, but yeah, he's...
Fuck him.
Get out of here, mate. Get out of here. Gangsters Gargars beat P-Top Kevin Bottom. Big Ted got done by Rangers de Janeiro. So that was the top of the table clash last week. Rangers getting up by 50 points. Brendo with 1,170 defeating Kane Ando. Bunning Snags that we touched on. The threat that went down to Stevie Woods. Again, he's another one. The threat that can bugger off. Checkmate beat me by 26. We've got Trent with What's a Pod beat Marty's team. Bit of a slump there for Marty in form. He's lost his last couple, I think. Tunnel Snakes, Bogan.
Hey.
1,211 beat Wayne with Hell's Grannies.
Is that season high?
12-11,
season high for the Snags.
Season high, 1,211.
Oh, sorry, it's the Snakes.
Cracking week.
Premierships aren't won in May. That's what he says.
Mark with fucking Cowboys went down to you, mate. He was a little bit unlucky, Mark. 12.25 is probably a solid week last week. He almost would have beat anyone in the league except for you and the Snags. But such is life, such is head-to-head. And then the last game of the round, Leanne, Fire and Ice. She's 2 in a row now. Got over the big ginger, Daniel from New Zealand. So well done to Leanne. This week's fixtures, you've got Gangsters Gargars up against, I can't read that, Big Ted and Gangsters Gargars. That'd be an interesting one. Both of the lads have shown form over the year without being too consistent, so we'll see how that goes. Kane Anderson, what have we got? Up Pete Top, Kevin Bottom, Bunning Snags, Rangers de Janeiro. So this is the top of the table clash one we were talking about. The next two matches we won't worry about because those two lads don't play. I'm playing the Cellar Dweller. Second page there, Bogan for us. And who have we got? Marty's team up against, who's that? Oh, Double Demon, Stevie Woods, Hell's Grannies and Checkmate. That'll be a good game. I think Wayno Hell's Grannies, he'll have something to do with his team this week to bounce back. Hampton, you're up against your mate Trent with What's a Pod. So, mate, hopefully you can knock him a little bit off his perch, mate. Give him a loss on the loss column.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Fucking dead.
Tunnel Snakes up against Big Ginger, and Leanne with Fire and Ice up against Mark and the fucking Cowboys. What have we got past that? Wrap up. Facebook groups. Guys, give us a like, give us a subscribe on YouTube. Jump onto our Twitter page at BJ and Game Day. Facebook is BJ and Game Day as well. And the SuperCoach group code 701371. Anything else, Hampton?
May the trade gods be kind, and we'll see you all next week.
See you guys.